Have you ever gotten the feeling that someone just doesn't like you? And no, I'm not talking about the obvious things like they don't text you back or make eye contact with you. I'm pretty sure we can all figure that out. I'm talking about the people who are supposed to be closest to you, friends and family, whose energy is just a little bit off and they give you that icky feeling in your gut. Well, today I'm going to give you 5 things to look out for and signs that people really don't like you. Hi, I'm Stephanie and I'm so glad you're here. If you're new, I would love it if you would subscribe. It'd be the biggest compliment to me ever. If you've been here before, welcome back. All right, you guys, let's get into the 5 things, and they all go together, so please stay tuned and listen to all of them. Number 5, they're a little bit too interested in you. I know you're probably thinking, like, what are you talking about? How can somebody be too interested in me? Listen, you guys, sometimes people all too often disguise their nosiness with concern. I've seen this in church when it comes to church prayer chains. They want to know all the details of your life whenever they're trying to figure out what you need a prayer for. Or this could even be your friends. I had somebody that was a professional friend call me one time, and it was right after one of my very best friends was murdered. And she hardly ever called me, so it was really weird that she was taking the time out of her day to give me a call. We didn't have anything professional going on at the time. And so I thought, this is really weird that she would call me. Well, she was calling me because she was trying to act concerned about my friend who just passed away. And she wanted to know the details that they hadn't released on the news as to how and why she was murdered. Of course, I kept it very minimal and discreet and realized at that moment that it wasn't about her being concerned at all. She was nosy and just wanted to know all the details. So just be careful what information you give. And if somebody is overly concerned about you, their intentions are not always the best. Number 4, they're always laughing at your expense. We all know that one friend or family member that loves to bring up something from our past and bring it up in front of other people and just start laughing profusely at our expense. Or they might just start laughing and making jokes about a mistake that you made. People who laugh at someone else's expense often hide under the phrase of, "Oh, I was just kidding." And this behavior is actually aggressive. So be careful when people are always joking and laughing at your expense, especially when they're the only ones laughing and you're not. 3, and this one's a big one. They talk about you when you're not there. I know you're thinking, well, how do I know if they're talking about me if I'm not there? You guys, this one is absolutely huge. There's a lot of signs to tell if somebody's been talking about you. And the biggest way to tell is by reading other people's energy. So in my case, one of my very best friends was definitely talking about me to other people when I wasn't around. And the way that I found that out is because when I would be around those people, all of a sudden their energy was just a little bit off, especially when my best friend was around. At first I thought, oh, well, this is just kind of weird. This is kind of funny. Maybe they're having an off day. But over years and years of time, this all added up and it all started making sense to me. She was talking about them to me and me to them. I'm a little bit more mature and I can just kind of let that stuff roll off and be like, well, that's her opinion, and still treat those people the same. But God knows what she was saying about me to them, and they clearly definitely let it impact their relationship with me. So there would be lots of different things that would happen. They would be standoffish when I would be around them, when they never were before, and I never knew what happened. And I would even ask, like, hey, is everything okay with us? Or they would do stuff like delete me on social media accounts. And it just happened time and time again. And that one person was the common denominator every single time. So if you're seeing that in groups of people and there's a common denominator, I really challenge you to ask yourself, does this person like me and are they really my friend? Because there has to be a reason for that shift in energy from other people. So be careful of that one. They take more than they give. This can really be with anything. It doesn't just have to be with money or gifts. It can also be with your time. Have you ever called somebody or they've called you and they talk for 90% of the conversation every time? And then when it comes time to talk about you and your concerns, they all of a sudden have to go or they're disinterested. This can be a way to show that not only do they not like you, but they don't value you as a human being. People who care about you care about what's going on in your life too. I think a good happy medium, referring back to number 5, you don't want people to be overly concerned and nosy about the details of your life, but you also want people to be interested and be able to reciprocate the energy that you're giving them in their life. Number 1, they hear you, but they're not listening. Have you ever had multiple conversations with someone and then somehow something from the conversation gets brought up and all of a sudden your friend or even family member acts like they've never heard it before and you're like, I told you that. Well, that's because a lot of the time you're talking and they're really not trying to hear or listen to what you have to say. Another thing that's very important in active listening is not just taking away from it what they want to take away from it. It's taking away the things that are important to you. And since they're not you, the only way they can understand those things is by listening to you and really asking and dissecting what you're telling them. Participating in active listening as a friend or a family member or even just on a colleague relationship is significantly important. Otherwise, our relationships never penetrate past the surface and have any depth whatsoever. And it's just another way to show that you genuinely care for someone. So if you find yourself repeating yourself about important topics, not necessarily just your favorite ice cream flavor or your favorite color, but about your feelings, then the person that you're with or that is the person in question here really might not like you. Thank you so much for joining me today. We had a definite snowy time in Kansas right now, and we get snow here about 3 to 7 times a year-ish. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am not a snow person. I am a beach tropical person, but I thought it was scenically beautiful, so I hope that you enjoyed it. Again, the biggest compliment that you could ever give me would be to subscribe to my channel. Sorry, my hair's kind of blowing in my face. I also would love any comments that you guys have about maybe some things that I'm missing about people who don't really like you. I think it's really important to talk about the things that are not as obvious so we can kind of familiarize ourselves with things that we might have mistaken for somebody caring about us in the past, and now we can identify them as maybe toxic behaviors or just something that we don't want to be associated when a person has those traits, because that is the true way that we grow. All right, you guys, well, I am freezing my booty off and I don't even like being in the cold weather anyway. I just did it for all of you. So thank you again for being here. I can't wait to read your comments below. Don't leave me hanging out here in the cold by my lonesome. Comment, and I look forward to responding to you all there. All right, bye.